It's another edition of Time About the Movies. We're looking at the last weekend of April 1990, April 27th. We got 4 movies to look at, so let's go ahead and get right to it. We'll start with the first movie here. William Friedkin returning to horror after The Exorcist. Probably not the best movie to make a return to. It's, if you know this movie from Siskel and Ebert fame, you know what I'm going to talk about here. Anyway, let's talk about The Guardian. So yeah, the villain of this movie wants to feed kids to this tree that comes to life. She worships a tree, and you can pretty much see from the trailer how stupid this movie is. And I think if you saw the Cisco and Ebert review for this, you could pretty much see what they were talking about in that review in this trailer. It's just, it takes a concept that could work for a regular supernatural horror film, but it takes it way too seriously by having a killer tree be the monster in the movie. It's just like, yeah, it does. Yeah, this is a disaster. This is a horrible, horrible movie. So much so that Friedkin wanted to disassociate himself from the release on any way, shape, or form. And in fact, when this aired on cable, the directing credit was named to Alan Von Smithy. Of course, Alan Smithy was a name that directors used back in the day to disallow the movies that they were involved with. But even though the trailer you saw there clearly shows that Friedkin directed this movie, and yeah, this is a pretty bad movie. It's a movie that you can pretty much tell it's bad right from the get-go. It has the typical horror movie tropes. The cops don't believe the cops don't believe the good people. They take the side of the guilty. The bad guys are very stupid. Their concept is their goal is pretty stupid. The fact that they have to the tree is a villain in a movie that's supposed to be taken seriously. It's just like, what a mess of a movie. It's hard to believe that actually, I take that back. Sam Raimi was actually involved with this movie before he dropped out to do Darkman. Sam Raimi probably could have made this work, because of course he made Evil Dead, but not when you have a director like William Friedkin, and this is supposed to be taken more seriously. But I think I pretty much said all that needs to be said about this movie. The Guardian is pretty bad. It's a movie that's just so bad on so many levels, and you can see why. It's a mess. It's a mess of a movie. Just avoid it like the plague. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, which is a much different movie than The Guardian. Maybe stupid, but not as stupid as The Guardian, I can tell you that. It's Space Invaders. It's hard to believe this is the third Aliens Come to Earth movie that we've looked at on this show so far. We've had Earth Girls Are Easy. Last time around, we had Martians Go Home. This one's not quite Earth Girls Are Easy. This one's not quite Martians Go Home. It's kind of right in the middle. It's not a good movie, but it's at least trying. You can at least see the effort being put into this movie. It's not really all that great. It doesn't really have a whole lot there that makes you laugh. I don't think a lot of adults would get into this. This is clearly made more for kids. But unlike Martians Go Home, at least this one actually looks like it's trying to do something. It looks like it's trying to be something different and unique, but it just doesn't quite have that same spark. And this is directed by Patrick Reed Johnson, who would later go on to do what I think is a much better movie for kids, Baby's Day Out. But we'll get to that when we get to '94, when that movie came out. But like I said, you can clearly see that they are trying here. They are trying to at least make something enjoyable here, but I don't think it doesn't quite work. You can still see that they're trying to copy a little bit of Beetlejuice's success, like the Little Monsters did, where they have like the fast-talking creatures and all that kind of stuff that think they're funny, but the writing is just not that good. It's a very tough act to follow. I mean, like most of these movies that try to copy Beetlejuice did not do so well. Not a lot of them were great successes, but you can at least see in this one, and even in something like Little Monsters, they were at least trying to do something different, but it just didn't quite work in the end. So that's my thoughts on Space Invaders. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Q&A. So this is Sidney Lumet's second film he made in the past 6 months actually, because Family Business only came out in December of '89, and this came out in April of '90, so I don't know what the story is with this movie. I don't know if it was a movie that was held over or something. production fell behind or something like that, but it's weird to have two movies from the same director come out around the same 6-month period. It also has the same cinematographer too, so maybe they shot both of these movies at the same time or something. I'm not entirely sure, but those look promising though. I mean, Nick Nolte, Timothy Hutton, Armand Assante looks pretty decent. Heard some good reviews on it. I mean, it could be something worth watching. I haven't seen it before, so I can't really comment too much on it, but trailer definitely looks like it has some potential to it, so maybe I'll check it out one day. Q&A. Another film from Sidney Lumet. So let's go ahead and move on to the last movie, Zalman King's Wild Orchid. I mean, honestly, you could probably call this movie what it really is, which is basically the sequel to 9.5 Weeks. You could have just called it 10 Weeks or 10.5 Weeks, because it's pretty much the same thing as 9.5 Weeks was. It really is. I mean, you have Mickey Rourke playing sort of a similar character to what he did in 9.5 Weeks, and even though this is directed by the writer of that movie, Zalman King, it really does feel like the same movie over again. But unlike 9.5 Weeks, where you actually had some clever writing in there and some interesting ways of filming the sex scenes, this is just basically a generic, cliched erotic thriller. Not even a good one. Like this is the type of movie that people made after Basic Instinct, thinking they're gonna have the next Basic Instinct. This is pretty much like it's the people that think that they're gonna have another 9.5 Weeks type of success, but they don't have the same writing ability or the same acting ability to match that movie. Because Basic Instinct is probably the best erotic thriller of all time. I don't know if I can think of any other ones that could match that movie, but 9.5 Weeks was pretty good too. But Wild Orchid's just kind of like, Wild Orchid kind of feels like one of those softcore movies they used to have on Cinemax at late at night, but they don't do that anymore. That's what that felt like to me, but like nowhere near as good. It's just kind of like, it's just there. It's just there to be like it's not even, it doesn't even have a reason to be there. The acting isn't really all that good. The writing isn't all that good. The visuals are very nice. It's Rio de Janeiro. Of course it's going to look nice, but what's the point? Like, what's the whole point of me coming to this except to be, like, aroused by what's going on screen? It's just like, you gotta give me something more than that. I mean, give me at least something clever or interesting, or an interesting way to put it together or anything like that, but I mean, at least give me something other than that. But yeah, other than that, though, this is not a very good movie. This is a movie that just doesn't have that same spark that 9.5 Weeks did. And like, it didn't get good reviews. It didn't do good business at the box office. And yet they made a sequel to it the year later. I don't get it, man. I just don't get it with this movie. So that's Wild Orchid. I don't get it, but apparently somebody liked it to make another movie. But we'll get to that one when we get to that one in the next year. And with that said, that's going to wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. We move into May next. We have 6 movies to look at, and it's going to be another one of those weeks where I never seen most of these movies, so I won't have too much to talk about. We'll have Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, Short Time, Daddy's Dying, Who's Got the Will, Last Exit to Brooklyn, Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, Happy Together, and The Feud. That's 7 movies, actually. And like I said, haven't seen any of these movies, quite honestly, so could be another quick week to talk about movies, so be on the lookout for that tomorrow. Other than that, though, thank you guys for watching. If you do like this video and you want to see more videos like this, check out the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the newest episode. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And until then, take care.